The people were very much involved with the government's decisions, and there were more people involved with the government than ever before. This was the closest that France would become during the Revolution to having a government that was of the people, by the people, and for the people. This also showed the beginnings of a republic. Hey, wasn't that Marie Antoinette, King Louis, and their strange-looking daughter that just glided past us? Yeah. So, aren't you going to do anything about it? Fine. Guards. The Reign of Terror all began with one man named Robespierre. He wanted to unite everybody once again and destroy all that were against the revolution. His followers were called the Radicals Jacobin, and the group he made to lead the government was called the Committee of Public Safety. This was a Republican party, and all were on the side of the Republic. The Republic of Virtue was his goal, which was to make everybody a follower of his Republic. Robespierre devised a system called the Law of Suspects, which was designed to kill everybody that believed in anything that was against the revolution. This system made it so that if anybody was suspected of believing anything that was against the revolution, they would be executed. This went out of control. Many innocent people were killed and murdered for treason. Since so many people needed to be killed, many different killing methods were made. The newest and most popular method of killing was the guillotine. It was supposed to assure a clean, fast, and easy death. Many people were arrested and killed without even getting a trial, due to the law of suspects. The killing became corrupt as people began to accuse others of false crimes. Thousands of people began to die. Most of the people killed were from the Third Estate. Robespierre became power-thirsty and had to be stopped. He believed and preached that only he could save the revolution. On July 28th, Robespierre was executed at the guillotine, and the next day all of his followers were killed too. On July 31st, the Committee of Public Safety was reorganized, and on August 10th, the Revolutionary Tribunal was also reorganized. The Revolutionary Tribunal was a court that was made in Paris by Robespierre during the times of the Reign of Terror, to judge the political offenders, even though most of them never got a trial. The Reign of Terror had ended after all these reforms. Robespierre had taken away the people's rights and decreased the Republic. Robespierre had unlimited power, such as King Louis once had. He gave the people absolutely no say. During the Reign of Terror, people had lost their rights, such as during the old regime. The only time that people had power was when they realized Robespierre needed to be removed, and they did so. Lord Robespierre, this one's against the revolution.
Kill him.
Lord Robespierre, this one's also against the revolution.
Kill him.
Lord Robespierre.
How have you not managed to figure this out by now? Kill them. All.
Napoleon was a great military commander and led to many military successes. Napoleon was known for his great battlefield tactics and ability to move his troops rapidly. Napoleon was put into control over the government after the Directory fell in 1799. When given the throne, he gave himself the name the Consul. Napoleon immediately took control and made a code called the Napoleonic Code. He reorganized the French law and gave himself unlimited power. He reorganized the ranking system into meritocracy, ranking based on ability and education. Napoleon recognized Catholicism as a civilian's religion, but had tolerance towards other religions too. In many ways, the Napoleonic Code is similar to the way that the Romans ran the government, with Napoleon acting as emperor. He cleverly used the name consul to trick the people into thinking that he was a limited monarch. But in fact, he planned to take unlimited power.
Okay. Napoleon completely turned the revolution on its side. He not only reformed the revolution, but eventually scrapped it altogether. At first he was the consul, a limited monarch, and he reigned successfully for 5 years. Then he changed. He declared himself emperor. He was the unlimited, undisputed monarch of France. During his reign, Napoleon was constantly at war. He eventually won peace by destroying the Second Coalition War, which gained respect of the civilians while gaining more money. During the Third Coalition with Britain, Admiral Nelson sank half of the French and Spanish ships. Napoleon launched the Continental System, hoping for peace, which was a blockade against all foreign goods into England. He hoped that he could starve England to the point that they would just want peace. This led to Britain launching a blockade of its own against France. It led to the War of 1812 between Britain and USA. Napoleon was finally able to defeat the Third Coalition. In a duration of 5 years, Napoleon was able to build up an empire. In Napoleon's attempt to take control of Europe, Russia and France go to war. Although he launched his largest army ever assembled, they were weakened by conditions and lack of supplies. Finally, after arriving in Moscow, they were alarmed when they learned that Moscow was completely burned down. Many of the French military could not retreat out of Moscow. When he tried to reassemble his troops, Austria, Prussia, and Russia were finally able to defeat him. Napoleon did not contribute towards the development of democracy in Europe at all. He completely opposed it. In the beginning, however, he tricked the people into thinking he was a democrat. However, he was not. He was a huge power and an absolute monarch. He removed the power from the people and nullified their say in the running of the country. If anything, he reminded the people of how dangerous an unlimited monarch could be. Napoleon, I hereby exile you. Why are you exiling me? Is it because I'm short? Do you have something against short people?
Every major event had changed France in different ways. Overall, these events contributed to the growth of democracy, even though there were some major setbacks. The meeting of the States General was the major wake-up call for all of the Third Estate in France. That was the time they realized they had some power or say, and took even further action by making the National Assembly after the tennis court oath. The people were sending a message to the king, telling them that they were the government. Some even went further and applied crude and violent actions to prove their point. During the storming of the Bastille, many people of the government were unreasonably killed, just to send a message. The storming of the Bastille was a major step towards democracy in France. It took away a lot of power from the government and even made the king scared. The people took it to an even further level than just frightening the king. They took him into a house arrest and soon after executed him. It was the most major decision of the people of France. They had killed their previous ruler, which showed that they were serious. While many did not believe the killing was right, a very clever man of the name Robespierre came into power and took all rights away from the people. He believed that he was the only person that could reunite everybody to believe in the Republic. His methods in doing so started the Reign of Terror and destroyed the buildup of the Republic. When the people finally realized that they had to take a stand and remove Robespierre from throne and then execute him. Through this process, the people of France strengthened and learned from their mistakes until a wise general came by and deceived them. Napoleon gave the French people an image of the old Roman consulate and said he would run the government that way. He ran the government as a consul for 5 years and he was very successful. On the 5th year, he declared himself emperor, and all the people once again lost their power and say in the government when Napoleon declared himself an absolute monarch. The French people had made a full circle. They went from totalitarianism under the rule of Louis XVI to an even worse under the ruling of Robespierre. They gained some power back with the beginning of Napoleon's reign, but lost it all when he became emperor. They were now pointlessly back where they began.